Have you ever wondered who or what player in Poppy Playtime really is? Some think he's a former Playtime Co-employee, while others believe he's just another toy, given his plastic arms and hands. However, as we delve into the lastest chapter, we discover that the player hides a very dark truth behind his existence. That's right, friends, it's possible that player is the father of Experiment 1006. But before you think this video is just clickbait, stop and consider a few things. Why didn't Catnap kill the player? Why has Experiment 1006 always been friendly with the player and didn't kill him either? Catnap and Experiment 1006 were very united through this plan, and neither of them did anything to player. And lastly, if all the other workers died in the Hour of Joy, why is player still alive? All these questions have an explanation, which we'll see in this video. From the start of the game, we weren't given much information about player. We were only shown a note and a VHS, and from there we started playing. But then we got to chapter 2, where we got the first clue about player's past, and it was Mommy Longlegs herself who made us understand that player was a former Playtime Co. employee. But then, wasn't he there during the Hour of Joy? Or how did he survive? Some people think he was one of the most important scientists at Playtime Co., who helped develop very complicated experiments that seemed impossible. Realizing how unethical it all was, he decided to resign, and to avoid problems for Playtime Co., they simply erased his memory. But why didn't they kill him? It could be that in the future, this very intelligent person could be useful for something. That's why player wasn't in the Hour of Joy. He had already resigned a long time ago, which explains why he's still alive and doesn't remember anything. But I think the opposite. In reality, player was indeed in the Hour of Joy, and this can be confirmed by one of the memories player had thanks to Catnap's red gas. What they meant to convey here is that player has several repressed memories, which he was able to bring to light thanks to his exposure to this red gas. We can see he has memories in different places with different things, but the most disturbing one is the one that interests us the most. In this memory, we can hear many screams in the background, and we see player right at the entrance of Playtime Co. This means the player is reliving the Hour of Joy. That's right, the player was indeed in this massacre. But here begins the craziest part of this theory. Right after we have these disturbing scenes, player looks up to the roof, and for those who didn't notice, he looks up because from the ceiling we can see 1006's hand about to grab player. Was it 1006 who rescued him from this massacre? Everything points to yes. But why? To start breaking this down, let's go back to the only clue we have about player, which was given by Mommy Longlegs. Player is a former Playtime Co. employee. I'm sure player did work there and was an employee, but not just any employee. He would have carried out the biggest experiment in all of Playtime Co. And of course, this is Experiment 1006. Given all the atrocities happening in the company, player wasn't willing to participate in this, and neither was this powerful experiment. In fact, this explains several of 1006's attitudes towards the scientist. He never revealed important information or wanted to help them. Probably 1006 only showed cooperation with player, because after all, he created him, and for this reason, he saw him as his father. This closeness made player reveal a lot of information to 1006, including his disagreement with all the cruel experiments conducted on children and how they were carried out step by step. All this news only began to fuel 1006's hatred towards all the Playtime Co. workers, but most importantly, it made him smarter than the others. This is similar to Poppy, who being Ludwig's daughter, knew everything that was done in Playtime Co., making her more astute than the others. But this brings us to the darkest question of this video, and get ready, because this is where your mind will be blown out. What is Experiment 1006 really? Is he an alien fallen from the sky? Not at all. Just like the other experiments from Playtime Co., 1006 used to be a living person. This can be confirmed by several recordings that exist. For example, when 1006 is talking to Harley Sawyer and asks how it feels to stick them, beat them, tear at flesh. Clearly, 1006 has no flesh on his body, but when he was human, he did. But who was he before becoming 1006? Everything points to him being Player's son. Possibly the player was a close friend to Ludwig, and both wanted to revolutionize the toy industry in some way. When these dark experiments began, Ludwig started losing his mind. This is when he put his daughter into a doll's body. So he possibly also wanted his great friend, Player, to do the same. We don't know if Ludwig forced Player to do this, or if Player himself thought it was possible to have his son back in some way. Now we had Ludwig's daughter in a toy, and Player's son in another. But as things got darker, Player was increasingly against these atrocities, and of course, so was his son. The Player, being the most intelligent scientist of all, and practically the one who helped develop all these experiments, revealed much more secret information to 1006 than to anyone else. With this, 1006 could understand the difference between who was good and who was bad. That's why he wanted to protect innocent children and free everyone from that evil company. That's why 1006 could escape and move around Playtime Co. as if he knew it very well. But here we get to the hour of joy. 1006 knew the only way to escape and free all the innocents was to kill all the Playtime Co. workers. But obviously, if he told this to his father, Player, he would be against this. That's why the hour of joy happened the day Player was the last one to arrive at Playtime Co. So that way he wouldn't be attacked, so he could later be rescued by his own son. With Catnap's help, 1006 made the Player forget all these memories with the red gas, so one day Player would wake up in his house and start a new life. This seems very possible, since later on the Player received the letter and VHS we see in the first part of the game. If the Player had been transformed in a toy, where would they have sent this letter? To his office at Toys R Us? This brings us to the final part of the video. Who's the real villain here? 1006 or Poppy? It was obvious that with the hour of joy, Poppy would get upset because all of her father's workers' lives were ended. So she wanted revenge. And of course, with her small body, she couldn't do anything, so she started recruiting other toys to help her finish off 1006. But eventually, they couldn't, because 1006 had on his side one of the most powerful toys in the entire company, Catnap. That's how they captured her and locked her in that box, along with the red gas. It was here that Poppy's allies sent the letter to the Player, because Poppy had possibly told them he was the only survivor. But 1006's plan was to erase his memory so he wouldn't have those horrible memories. That's why Poppy doesn't tell us the whole story. She only gives us a few pieces of information and seems to evade the questions. Poppy only seeks revenge against 1006. And what better revenge than making his own father finish him off? She really doesn't want us to know the truth, because that way we'll know that the bad one here is her and not 1006. We know Player is under Poppy's manipulation, and this is probably another reason why 1006 hasn't killed him yet. And what about the children who were protected by Catnap? It's supposed that during the hour of joy, Catnap protected all the innocent children in the factory, so nothing would happen to them. But what happened next? They possibly did the same to them as they did to Player, erased their memories and set them free. Well, anyway, what do you guys think about this theory?